What up, YouTube family? This is Auto Picasso here with episode 6. Today I'm painting a Porsche 911 GT3 with the paint code L39E. All right, let's get it. So before I go further in explaining more about this car, I first want to do a walkthrough on everything I'm painting on the car. Basically, the car is getting a full color change. So it was silver at first, and basically it's going to get painted the same color upon the customer's request of a car that he had in high school. So that color is L39E. All right, so as y'all seen in the first booth, I had all the parts. I had the deck lid, the spoiler, the doors, the hood, uh, the handles, all of that. And so in this booth, I have the actual car itself and the bumpers. All right, so right now I'm basically going through and tacking off everything, making sure that I get anything off, any debris or any dust that's floating in the air that has landed on my bumpers. I would do the same thing with the car itself and the parts in the other booth as well. So, yeah, this particular color called for G6, so that's what I went with as an undertone. So I'm going to put one coat of sealer over everything, the parts, the car, the bumpers, everything. And then I'm going to come back with two coats of base coat, PPGs waterborne base coat. And then I'm going to come back over that after that's dried and then put two coats of clear as my final steps to finishing this car. Alright, so I was going to speed up this part of the video, but I'm actually going to speed up the part where I'm sealing all the parts. Reason being is because it's about 100,000 parts up in there. I ain't gonna lie, I'm exaggerating, but it's a lot of parts in there. So it'd probably be better for me to explain a little bit more in depth while I'm sealing the actual car, and then speed up the part where I'm sealing the parts. So whenever I'm sealing, I always like to make sure everything is blown off and tacked off, and then I usually like to start with my edges first. The reason being is sometimes they get missed, like I explained in other videos, and it's just how I do things. I start off with the same routine every single time. So I might start off with, like right now, I'm starting off with the rocker, but then I'm making sure I get inside of the gems, and then I start with the outside of the car. So I'm hitting all of my edges, make sure everything is properly covered, and then now I'm on the outside of this quarter panel. It's very important when you're sealing to make sure that everything is covered because you want to give your base coat, especially when there's bare metal showing, you want to give your base coat something to bite to. So that's why you apply sealer. Another reason why you apply sealer is so you can get the correct tone of color when you're spraying your color. All right, so being that I'm painting a roof, I started from the bottom to the top, and that's because what that allows me to do is come over on the other side and continue on where I left off at. So as I started from the bottom, I painted the rocker first, then sprayed the quarter panel, I sprayed all into the jams, and then now I'm applying sealer to the roof. And then so there's going to be a wet edge that right here where I stopped at. So I'm going to walk around to the other side and continue on where I left off at. All right, so this might sound a little crazy, but I don't like sanding my sealer at all. If I can help it, I do not like sanding my sealer. So I try to get everything right the first time, and I am by no means perfect. And if you can find a perfect painter, um, then hey, power to you, more power to you. But uh, I am no means claiming to be perfect at all. But I do not like sanding my sealer, so I try to get it right on the first time. So, uh, and the only way I found to do that is just follow a routine. Clean the same, tack the same, spray the same, and only add what's going to add value to your routine. And so when you follow your routine, you get the same results every single time. So if one of my main things that I like to do when I first come in the booth is purge my gun before I start spraying, because a lot of times there's still uh, unmixed fluid at the top of your gun, and once you start, if you have not properly mixed your sealer or base or clear, then that can come out on that first coat, and then you're in some trouble, and then you got to figure out some stuff. Which I do think that that's what makes a good painter a good painter. One who knows how to troubleshoot problems, because no matter how hard you try, sometimes there will be something that you have to troubleshoot and say, hey, what do I need to do? Do I need to bake this for a little bit and then come in and sand and then try to bridge my paint to cover up whatever this is to try to make it flow out properly and make it work out? Or do I need to start over from square one? It all comes with experience and time. All right, so if y'all wanted to know my routine, first thing I do when I get a car in the booth and I have the plastic already spread and everything cut out and taped up, the first thing I do is grab a microfiber and glass cleaner, and I clean every panel at least twice. What cleaning it twice will do is make sure that everything, any contaminants that's on that panel or any dirt is on that was on that panel is now off that panel. So the first time you clean, you look at the rag, you'll see that it's going to be a little dirty. So then I grab another side of the rag, well, microfiber, and basically start cleaning again. Or sometimes it depends on if I have brand new parts, I might grab a whole new microfiber. And so after I do that, I clean everything for the second time, and then I use degreaser to go over everything to make sure there's no oils or any contaminants on that panel. And then I tack, and then I go ahead and seal, I base, and I clear. And so it's the same routine every single time. And I left out a step. I make sure that I purge, which I stated that already, but I make sure before I start spraying, I purge my gun. That way, everything will flow out the way that it's supposed to.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, so now we're on the first coat of base coat. I'm using a DV1 by DeVelvis. I'm spraying at 13 psi, and like always, I'm starting out with hitting my edges first. Very, very important. So let's get into a little bit about this car. I don't know much, but I know for sure that it's a customer bought this car recently, and there's a guy on YouTube named TJ Hunt, and he's actually a famous YouTuber who vlogs his daily life. He's real big into cars, buying and selling cars, buying his dream cars, and really putting a lot into them, upgrading engines and stuff like that. And I guess he was going to buy this car. He has a whole video out on YouTube. If you want to look him up, his name is TJ Hunt. But he has a whole video out on this particular car. I think he was a, I think he purchased it, and then I guess maybe he realized that he didn't want to put a lot into it, so he sold it. And so this customer bought this car and decided to go ahead and repaint the whole thing the color of a car, I guess, that he had in high school. So, yeah, this is TJ Hunt's car that he was about to restore, and I guess he maybe changed his mind. And so, this is at the end of this video, you're going to see what the car could have looked like if he had went through with it. So, like I said, I don't know for sure why he did not decide to go ahead and go through with it. Um, Maybe he found something else. If y'all can go over to his YouTube channel, once again, his name is TJ Hunt. He has a lot of cool stuff over there. A lot of cool different, a lot of cars that he's purchased and restored and things like that. It seems like he's very big into projects. So yeah, he has some pretty cool videos over there. If y'all want to check him out, his name is TJ Hunt. I will post a link after this video um, to that particular video where he went to go see this car and was trying to decide if he wanted to buy this car. And in the video, he actually said yes, he thinks he wants to do it. His friend said that they thought it was a really good deal and a really good project, and it wouldn't take a lot to actually fix it. So I don't know from the time that he made that decision or was trying to make that decision to the time where I guess he actually bought it and then maybe looked at it more in depth, and how much work it was actually going to take versus something that he probably seen that was a little cooler, or I'm not sure. So yeah, I will do my best to post a link to that particular video so y'all can check that out as well. Shout out to him on it. All right, so moving on. When I mixed the paint for this car, being that I'm not blending anywhere, I reduced my paint by 20%. Usually when I'm blending, I want that color to blend out, so I want it to be a little more reduced. So if I'm blending, I reduce by 30%. If I'm not blending and I'm just painting parts or all over a job, I will reduce my paint by 20%. All right, so it's not much to this job. Basically, it's a solid color and it gets two coats. Normally, if you're spraying with a 50% overlap, and as long as you're consistent, you should be good with two coats. But it's always good to go back in and check with a light and make sure you are completely covered before you start applying um, your first coat of clear. All right, so just like I did my sealer, I applied my sealer from the bottom of that rocker and just worked my way up to the top. And just like spraying my base, I started from the bottom of that rocker, hit those edges, and then I worked my way on the outside of that quarter And then, as you can see, I'm going over the edges or hard to get places first, so I can know that I for sure uh, got those areas covered. And then I'm going to continue on with the roof. All right, so you can see that I stopped in the middle of that roof, and now I'm going to come over to the other side and continue on where I left off, and then work my way. As I work my way down, you'll see me go over the jams or hard to reach places to make sure that those places are covered, like in the middle of that where that glass is going to butt up to the roof on both sides. And then I'm going to continue to work my way down and finish applying uh, base coat to the quarter panel. This color was actually a really good color to spray. Covered very good on the first coat, but I'm still going to go over with a second coat in which that I did not put into this video just for the purpose of not making it so lengthy because it's already an hour, almost an hour long, if not an hour long. All right, so on to the parts. It's like a million parts up in this booth. And like I stated before, to make sure that everything gets painted and nothing gets left out, it's all in your routine. So I'm going to be starting at the beginning of the booth and working my way around the booth. All right, so on to the first coat of clear using PPGs EC530. Using the Iwata Supernova. And once again, purge first before you start spraying. Hit those edges first. Remember, it's all in your routine. All right, so with this Iwata Supernova that I'm spraying with, I usually, it calls to spray at 29 psi. I think it sprays out way too soft at 29 psi, so I spray at 39 psi, and I feel like that works for me. Um, and yeah, so when I'm spraying my first coat, I don't spray it too heavy. I want it to go on. I want to lay it down smooth, but not like the final coat of clear. So I it's not quite dry, but it's wet enough to where um I can let it flash for the recommended time to flash, and then I come back in, and then I can get a little bit more heavy um, on that clear. And how I do that is I just slow down a little bit more and just try to like just slick it out a little bit more. Never be afraid to go behind the bumper or to just take your time while you pull that trigger to get into different crevices or different areas that's hard to get to. Never try to just spread just regular because that's how you can get a run. And it's very hard to get runs out of different areas that it's hard to get clear into in the first place. So the best thing to do is just slow down, angle your gun in a way to where you can get into different places that's hard to get into, and just release your trigger, pull your trigger, release your trigger, and it'll work out. So as you can see, I'm angling my guns side to side, or from turning it different ways to get into different areas. That way, I can get the coverage desired, um, so I can get the refinish that I want as well. So like again, like I started before, I started hit that edge first, start at that rocker, hit those edges, and then start continuing on with my rocker. On my first coat, I never go into the jams first. I always just cover the outside panels, and then on my second coat, I come in and I spray my edges first, and then I spray the outside of the car, and then continue on clearing the rest of the car. And the reason I do that is because in the factories, um, the jams and the inside of the jams of the doors only have one coat of clear. So, like I said, on the first coat, I come in, I spray everything on the outside. Then the second coat, I spray the jams first, make sure I get very good coverage inside of the jams, and then I continue on with the outside of the car, and then continue on with the rest of the car. And that's how you get the factory refinish. As y'all can see, I stopped in the middle of that roof, and I'm going to come on the other side and continue to clear, but I'm not going to start where I stopped at. I'm going to go a little bit more further in, and what that's going to allow me, what that's going to allow is for me to have the same consistency throughout the whole roof. So instead of me stopping and then continuing on with that wet edge, I went a little bit further in, and it's like I never stopped clearing the roof once I started clearing the roof, if that makes sense. So whenever you're clearing a hood and you have to walk on the other side, you never want to start where you left off at. You want to go a little bit more further in. That way you can have the same consistency throughout the whole panel that you're clearing. All right, so on to the parts. Just like I did when I applied my first coat of base and sealer, or sealer and base, I started with the gas door and then just worked my way around. For the purposes of this video, it's already an hour long, so I only put one coat of sealer, one coat of base, and one coat of clear in this video. But in all actuality, I have one coat of sealer, two coats of base, and two coats of clear. So I left out one coat of base and one coat of clear from this video just to make it shorter. It's already an hour long, and I just felt like because it's a solid color and it's not really much to a solid color, because I'm not having to spray any metallics or anything like that, or spray any control coats or anything like that, or explain any of that stuff. It's just two coats of base, two coats of clear, and then we're done. The most important thing of this whole job is just the consistency that you have to maintain with spraying everything the same. So everything looks the same. All right, as y'all can see, I'm angling my gun to the side a little bit, and sometimes you have to do that. The reason why I have to do that on this particular deck lid is because if I try to spray it with my gun aimed regularly, I could run the chances of getting a run. Um, it kind of folds in. It kind of goes in right there, and there was a little dry right there, so I hit it again. But yeah, never be afraid to angle your gun however you have to angle it to get in areas um, with the same consistency. So I want to take the time out to express my gratitude if you made it this far. Sorry the video is so long, but we're going to have many more videos to come. I was planning to start a prepping series soon. And yeah, so feel free to like and subscribe, leave a comment. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them promptly. But like always, stay humble and
One,
keep
two,
going.
three, four.